if that EMAG can't be in the bag anymore, it's good that it gets to be there.
That's actually a brand new one.
Oh, really? You just had one run?
No, I had when I ran that original one, I ran two,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and that was the one that was in Denise's office. I just forgot to bring one, so I just grabbed it out of there and put it up there for now.
Yeah.
All right, we are live. We should be live.
Sweet.
Sent you the link. No, it didn't hit send. There's the link. Please try closing or reopening your browser window.
I don't want to.
So, hello, everybody. This is Bobby Cool Daddy Sick Priest. We are rushing to get things started because we have a meeting later on today to discuss some very important things that will affect everyone's lives.
Everyone?
Everyone's lives.
Wow.
Hey, do you think you can direct that light toward me? I'm like very in the dark.
Sure. Danny can do it.
We have 31 people watching us.
What's up, guys?
Let's see if I can. Did that link get sent through?
It did not, but I got a
Yeah.
notification that you went
Oh,
live.
okay.
I'm just pulling it off YouTube.
All right, cool. All right, guys, we are here. Thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, it's going to be a quick, short episode. But before we get started, let's do a real quick round table.
Round table.
Round table of what's going on.
Round table.
Let's see. Me and Anthony are leaving this weekend, Thursday, probably noon now, because some other things are going on that I got to get taken care of. And we're headed to Tyler, Texas for the Piney Woods Open. Me and Anthony are going to do some media work down there. We're actually going to do some lead card coverage, so that's to be pretty exciting.
Nice.
It's going to be exciting to see Steve-O and the gang out there, Carrollton, Texas folks, and, of course, all the Texas folks that are going to be out there.
And non-Texas folks as
And
well.
non-Texas folks, because it's a big tournament. Where is it at right now? Didn't we look lately?
It
It's
was
still in Tyler, Texas.
Oh, nice, good, because that's where we're going, so that's good.
It was around 200 the last time I looked. Let me double check.
All right, so there should be a couple more. I think I saw 264, and then I think it jumped up a little bit more from that. So anyway, and Robert, I believe you're going to
278.
278. I believe you're going down to play.
I'm gonna play.
You're going to go play. When are you leaving?
Probably tomorrow
To go practice?
afternoon. I won't be able to practice at all tomorrow. It's like an 8-hour drive for us. But,
Yeah.
but most of the day Thursday,
Nice.
get a couple of practice rounds in, and this will likely be maybe not my last tournament of the year, but the last like kind of big one that I play. I might
Gotcha.
play a couple smaller ones here and there.
What do you got going on, Eric?
This weekend,
Fishing?
probably it's Gabe's birthday weekend. My good friend Gabe.
So he'll probably want to go fishing?
So
or-
he'll probably want to go
Wanna go
fishing all
fishing,
weekend.
yeah, nice.
I'm sure of it. We'll see. Probably no disc golf in my immediate future.
Yeah.
I did play this last weekend, but I've got a nagging injury that I'm trying to work out. It's a neck
Uh-oh.
thing,
That's not good.
and it's on the opposite side that it's usually. So that usually have on the right side, have some pulling on my neck, and just from years of throwing, I think. And now it's on the left side, so I'm not sure what's going on with it, but it definitely sucks.
But yeah,
So-
that can't be very fun.
The heating pad has become my best friend, which is awesome, by the way. But so yeah, no disc golf for me this weekend. But I did play this last weekend, finally.
Yeah, and the
So.
super cold.
It wasn't that bad. Everyone
No?
keeps saying that,
You
like,
didn't think it was that cold?
"Meh." It wasn't that bad. It was bad. The last 3 holes. The last 3 holes were awful. The
Yeah.
wind picked up.
Sideways rain and everything.
Yeah, the
Dude,
last
that
3 holes
sucks.
did suck, but the rest of the round was just. I mean, I went into it knowing it was going to be cold and wet.
So maybe that was it. You knew.
So
it's like,
maybe that could be part of it.
Yeah.
But I definitely was not disappointed that they decided to cancel.
Yeah, I remember I went to go grab the camera equipment because we were going to do a lead card, and I remember
Mhm.
thinking when I got back, it took less than maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes to grab the stuff. I thought, man, the temperature dropped like 10,
Mhm.
15 degrees. At least
Well,
it
yeah,
felt like
it was supposed to get colder as the day went on.
Yeah.
It was one of those type of days, and we had some lightning happening right before the second round started, and we just had to cancel it because there's no way we could have
Yeah.
finished. I mean,
Yeah.
it would have been dark.
Yeah, no
So-
way.
Yeah, the weather was fine after that, but by the time you've delayed that much,
Yeah, we wouldn't have got started
Yeah.
till 3:00, and when it's overcast and cloudy, it gets dark around here
Yeah.
at 6.
yeah, that was
So-
the same thing for us in Texas. It dumped on us and had
Mhm.
some lightning toward the end of the round, so we had to delay and didn't get to play the second round of the triples thing.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
Huh.
got pulled after one.
Bummer.
Yep,
Bummer.
we ended up losing by a stick.
By a stick.
Still got second. It was all right. Made some money.
Last year you made pretty good money though. Is it still good for
Yeah.
second place?
Yeah, it was 460 something a person. Not
Yeah.
bad. Miles' team ended up winning. Miles, J.D. Ramirez, Eric Greeny. And we played together on the same card, so that was fun. They got like $850 apiece.
That's nice.
Pretty good.
All right, well, we're going to jump right into the questions. So let me get the field recorder ready to go so we can record the actual podcast. Give me just a second here to turn it on. Get it ready to go. Real quick before we go for the viewers of YouTube, I'm sure some of you have been anxiously waiting. So Robert has...
Right, so let's clear up some confusion, though.
Uh-oh.
So last week, a bunch of people thought that the bet disc was that one that we used to reveal.
Oh, yeah, people did ask that, yeah.
And that was like, we just did that for fun,
Jeez.
right? Like, that was just, that's just kind of what we were doing. But now we have the actual Dimex disc. And so here it is. We got... Bobby and myself took a picture together. Bobby's sad. I'm obviously happy, and just a little details of what went on here. So this says, "Thought I was keeping it real, wasn't." That's what Bobby said, and then I just kept it real.
He kept it real.
And then there's a decently light gray #1003, and there's an even lighter gray #Torchies right over here. So it's just a little Easter egg that you get when you purchase this disc. And we got a Disc Golf Answer Man.
It's not an Easter egg when you tell people about it.
Well, yeah, but if somebody who isn't listening
cracked
gets
egg
it,
that's all scrambled and burnt.
if somebody who isn't listening,
it's like a
gets
fried
it,
egg now.
Yeah, that's fair enough. An Easter fried egg.
There you go.
Yeah. So anyway, so there's that. Those will be available for purchase here in the next little bit. So once they are, I'll share a link with you. If you would like to support the show, but also support me in showing Bobby who's the boss, that's a great way to do it. So there. And this is actually Bobby's disc. This is on a Suspect. He likes Suspects.
That'll be the Suspect that I throw.
This goes in his bag.
We need to get one made for the wall, though.
Yeah. So there you go.
Let me see. If you do want to order it, I will be happy to sign it, and I'll sign it right over his face.
No.
Yes.
Negative.
Right on the forehead.
That was I can do whatever I want.
Sure, it is your disc.
I'm gonna sign it right on his face. I'll put Bobby.
You better watch it. Somebody on the board just commented Robert killed Easter. So, whoops.
Way to go, Robert.
Sorry, guys.
All right, so that'll be the disc.
Sorry,
I'll
guys.
take that home. And good thing the disc golf season is over.
I already printed one for myself.
I've already retired.
Yeah,
No.
I already printed one for myself. So.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Nice. On what?
On a getaway.
On a getaway. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's get to the questions. We've got the recording ready to go. All right, here we go. Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man. I am Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze. I have with me Eric, Fisher Boy, McKay.
Someday he'll turn into a fisherman.
Someday he'll be a
Someday, I
fisherman.
guess.
Well, if he
Jeez.
wins the contest, the fishing
Yeah,
contest.
hey,
That
that's
contest ended weeks ago.
Oh, well, I'm sure you're going to get another one.
Did you win?
Not even close.
Sorry, man.
And Robert got his disc made, McCall.
Hey.
So if you're listening, you know that our bet has ended, and Robert is now rated 1003, and he was able to get his disc made. You'll have to go to this particular episode's description or details if you want to actually see it. And I'll take a picture of it on my phone, and I'll post it to the Facebook page.
All right.
But if you want to celebrate with Robert, you can actually purchase the disc through dynamicdiscs.com. And if you want me to sign it or Robert to sign it, let us know in the notes when you order it. And if you want me to sign it over Robert's face, just let me know. And
Do not say that.
I will accommodate that.
We are celebrating the victory and triumph over dissension, over hate over here. We don't want to sign over my face.
We don't want to sign over your face. I will happily sign over your face.
No, whatever.
So, okay, guys. Well, we're going to jump right into it because this is going to be a short episode because we have a lot going on today. So this is something I'm going to try to make it work with SpeakPipe because we got a lot of SpeakPipes in the queue waiting to go. So bear with me just a second, and we'll just hop right into the questions. As always, guys, remember you can go to discgolfanswerman.com, submit your disc golf questions, and we will get it on the air. Here we go. We're going to see if this works.
Hello, Eric, Bobby, and Robert. Ron from Mountain Valley, Kansas. I have a statement more than a question. I do have a question, but I'll ask that in a separate recording. I want to comment on the camaraderie and the sportsmanship between the players on the disc golf tour.
There
I guess
goes that test. So now we go to Plan B. plan B is I'm going to bring up the Google form here for people that have sent in questions. If I can find it. While I'm looking for that, Robert, tell us what you did earlier today in Topeka.
Yeah, so this morning, Kevin Schaefer, Jackie Morris, Danny Lindahl, and myself went to Topeka. We spent some time with some educators from that area, physical education educators. You can switch the cameras if you want to not just be looking at you while you look at a computer. We went to visit with some Topeka teachers and taught them kind of how to teach students how to play disc golf. And so we took some discs down there, spent some time playing a few holes, and then really kind of talked about if you were going to teach students like kind of like a curriculum, what would that look like? What's the best way for you to understand that and for you to teach that? And so it was really interactive, and I thought that was a really cool part of it. We had a great time doing it, and they asked a lot of questions. We went through afterwards, and it was crazy how quickly they got better at throwing as we went. Yeah. Because like when I started, I threw very poorly for quite a while.
Right.
And they were just like they threw a couple of bad ones to start, and then just started throwing pretty straight. And I thought that was really dumb. You should be bad at it just like everybody else. But no, it was really cool, and it seems like they enjoyed themselves. So, yeah, that was great.
Very cool. All right, so we're going to hop over to the Google Forms and get on with the questions. This one is from Reese. He says, I am 13 years old and been playing disc golf for 3 to 4 months now with my brother. I have already a dozen discs, but I was wondering if you knew of any low-speed drivers you would recommend for my low or slow throwing speed. Thanks for considering my questions. Keep up the good work.
Slower speed drivers. The ones that we took today, we took some witnesses out there. We took a couple of thieves. But the one that if I'm going to recommend a slower speed driver almost any time, it's the Maverick. I think so many people can use a Maverick.
Yeah.
That's, It's a go-to for me. I know it's a go-to for Bobby. Eric will use it like in the woods, not so much in the open, but really good Frisbee.
Nice. All right, we got another disc question. This one is from Matt Hampton from Missouri. Greetings, disc golf answerman. I absolutely love throwing a brand new Prime Judge off the tee. I recently purchased a Luther Judge for the extra durability and stability, but the flatness and grippiness of the Prime feels better in my hand. My question is about the Moonshine Prime plastic. Does it offer any extra durability or stability over Prime?
I don't believe so. I think it's honestly the same thing, just with a little bit of moonshine in it. Just because it has moonshine in it doesn't necessarily mean it's, in the past, our moonshine plastic has all been premium plastic until just recently we've finally started putting it in some lower grade plastics like Primes and Classics and stuff like that. So I don't believe that it's going to be any more durable than the Prime. My suggestion, I suppose, would be to try out a Classic. It's going to be a little harder, maybe a touch more durable than Prime with the same stability.
Yeah, I agree.
Excellent. Next one is from Bennett, and he's all up in it.
All right.
All right, then.
All right.
For about 30 minutes?
For about 30 minutes, yeah. Hey, the GAM crew, I've been playing for about 2 years now. I can get 350 feet of distance on a good shot, but still it seems to me that all of my discs fly pretty stable to overstable for me. I've filled my bag with mostly very understable discs, the Mall, Underworld, Fury, but even these discs really only ever flip if I really crank on them. Huh. What part of my form do I need to focus on if I want the disc to fly closer to their rating and flip over more? Thanks for all you do on social media for disc golf.
Sweet.
Did you say 350 feet is what he started with?
I can get 350 feet of distance on a good shot.
Huh.
That is a good shot,
Yeah.
especially if it's just stable the whole time.
Right.
I'm sure that's skewed just a little bit, but I mean, I don't know that there's any form necessarily to work on as much as angles.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it sounds like everything's probably coming out with extreme hyzer
or
out of your hand.
Nose up.
Or nose up,
Yeah.
exactly. So to work on that would be basically get out to a field and work on a little bit more flatter release and more level, keeping the disc as level as possible, even if it means slowing everything down to kind of a walkthrough instead of a run up. Just to kind of to focus on that release point, the angles, and that should help you out a little bit, trying to get a little bit more right turn out of your discs before fading back.
Yeah, definitely. And I would also say at least form-wise, you might look at how high you're reaching back. If you're reaching back really high to where like your arm is kind of bent up, a lot of times that means that you'll kind of swoop into a high follow through, but not the kind of high follow through that you want. One that's kind of nose up, and so
More
you
of
actually-
a level.
Yeah, you
flat
actually
playing
want to
field.
reach back a little lower than that and just pull through as flat as you can. If you do need to finish a little nose up, a little follow through a little higher so it gets the nose a little bit level. But yeah, you might want to look at definitely how high you reach back and then the nose angle on release.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, next one comes from Volunteer FF.
All right.
He's asked, "Hey guys, I am 46 years old and have been playing for a year after a 13-year break after moving to take care of grandparents. I played for 10 years before that. Coming back, finding my division is an issue. I can win or top 3 in MA40. I can finish top 10 in intermediate. 908 rated after a couple of tournaments. I want to make a run to go to AM Worlds next year, but don't think I can make enough points in AM 40. Should I play back and forth between the two to make the points or stick to just one?"
If your goal is to make M Worlds, then you want to play whichever gives you the most points. That almost always means the bigger field.
It always. I mean,
Yeah,
it always does.
I guess unless it's like, say if there was a tournament where you couldn't play or you could only play age protected but not another, and it was a major or a bigger tournament like that. Yeah, but you're going to get the most points playing with more people in your field. So if your goal is to get enough points to get there, look for the larger field, play that.
All right, next one comes from Vincent. This is on bags. "Hey, crew, I was just wondering if you've heard or seen any new bag color schemes. I just want to update my sniper bag, but haven't seen anything new in a while."
I will say, they did a little cleaning house yesterday. I noticed, and excuse me, and keep an eye on the DD auction page because Derek is going to be releasing some one-off bags, some sample bags that we got in. So that's probably going to be your best bet as far as new color waves coming anytime in the near future, at least. I'm not sure what the extended looks like, but for now, I would just absolutely keep an eye on that page.
Excellent.
And that's Dynamic Discs, Dollar Disc Golf Auctions, I believe is what
On
it's called.
Facebook, yeah.
On Facebook.
Nice. All right, next question comes from Brian.
Shintaka?
This one, he says, "I'm in the process of switching over to dynamic discs." Yes.
Welcome.
What is that one? What is that on Napoleon Dynamite?
Yeah.
And have questions about having multiple versions of the same disc. Should I get them all in the same weight and plastic, or can it vary?
Why don't you talk about that? I feel like you do that a lot.
I do that a lot. It can vary for sure. However, I tend to keep up when I have multiples in my bag. I will tend to keep the same plastics, the same mold. What I like to do is almost an identical twin to the disc, almost, not quite. Maybe a different stamp or something like that from a tournament or something. But for the most part, we'll just talk about Lucid Truths, Lucid Emax. Right now, I'm carrying, I believe, 4 of those in the bag right now. All of them are Lucid. All of them are pretty close to max weight. I honestly don't pay that close attention to my weights.
Right.
Mid ranges I like to keep above 75. If it's above 75, great. Anything below that, I might have one in there for a little bit.
Less
but
great.
yeah, I mean, it's still good, but just my preference, I'd rather keep them heavier. But I honestly don't pay a whole lot of attention to what weights they are. But yeah, I like to keep pretty much the same things over and over. That way I have backups just in case I lose one during the round, different ages, different wear and tear. So, for instance, like we'll go to a different disc since everybody knows I bag so many Emax. We'll go to the Enforcer. I carry 4 Enforcers right now, and all of them are of different wear and tear. So I prefer that method instead of, let's say you're playing and then you lose like a beat-in Enforcer that you've had. Well, then a great choice you could do is go pick up a Biofusion Enforcer, which is going to be a little closer to the beat-in Lucid one that you were throwing. So, that way you don't have to go break in one if you don't have one. It's kind of like boom, I can get it right now. But for me personally, I like to keep everything the same.
Yep.
It just keeps things simple for me.
Yeah, and if you get say an Enforcer off the shelf that feels really good,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times you'll go back and grab like a stack. You don't
Yeah.
really care about the weight so much.
Correct.
You know, within a few, within like just a couple numbers of one another.
Like when the Ballista Pros, the Domi Ballista Pros came out.
Got to grab.
I
some
grabbed a
of those.
handful of them just because I want to have some backups later on down the road, just in case the next run maybe comes out flatter. With it being a high-speed big rim, it can be inconsistent from run to run.
Right. So yeah,
So I like to have backups of the discs that I love, which is
100%.
those B Dynamic ones. I've got a stack of those at home. People are already hitting me up for them.
Yeah, they're
like, hey,
pretty
can,
good.
can I get one?
No.
Can I get one? Yeah, and I send them the link to L64 Customs page.
Right.
Yeah, here they are, right here.
Yeah, this is where you can purchase them.
Yeah.
So you said right now you have 4 Emacs in your bag.
Mm-hmm.
Now is that like? Is it always 4 or is just
Not
happens?
necessarily.
You know what I'm
it just
saying?
happens to be 4 at the
4.
moment right
Okay.
now. And I do have 4 in my bag right now, but like this past weekend at the DD Open, I threw the same one over and over.
Yeah.
I get into that habit as well of if it's working for me. And the EMAC may have been a bad choice because a good EMAC Truth, you can get to do anything you want.
Yep.
So I can throw it on a nice Anheuser approach or a nice straight shot or something that I need to finish left. I can throw it on pretty much any of those lines. So I'll get into throwing the same disc. And that's how I am at pretty much any tournament. If you've ever played with me, you'll see I'll gravitate to throwing the same exact disc over. If it's working for me,
Yeah, you
I'm
feel
gonna
good
just
on it?
I'm confident with that disc. I'm gonna throw it.
Excellent. All right, next question comes from Jeff. He says or asks, I've been playing for a little over a year now, and I've tried 5 or 10 different putters, and I still can't find something that works for me. I heard on your show earlier that some people putt with drivers, so I tried a whole round with a Champion T-Bird,
Okay.
and it felt fantastic.
It's weird.
But I couldn't make any putts outside 15 feet because it was such a fast disc that it hyzered out pretty fast.
Well, then how is that fantastic?
I don't know. Yeah.
So-
Not to pick on you, Jeff, but I just
But
don't,
that's
I
a
don't
fair
understand the
question.
logic. though.
Yeah, I'm not picking on him
Sure,
by
yeah.
any means, but
Do you know of any putters / slow disc I could try that feel more like drivers in the hand?
if it feels like a driver in the hand, it's probably a driver is the problem there.
Right.
Because of how different the two discs are. A putter.
Yeah, maybe what he's looking for is something that's not quite as deep. That's literally the only guess I have at this point.
Maybe a pure then?
Pure is
Pure is,
yeah.
to me, when I think of shallow, I think of pure or maybe even deputy.
Mm-hmm.
And you're definitely not going to get the hyzer outs on those.
No, they're going to be a lot straighter.
Yeah.
Maybe the Maiden as well, the Trilogy Challenge
Yeah,
putter.
it's a little deeper than the pure, I think, mainly just
Definitely.
because of the bead that's on it.
Definitely, yeah.
It kind of makes you think that it's a little deeper,
But yeah, I mean, if that's just like we said, we're not trying to pick on you. That's just kind of a perplexing question that you said. It felt great, but I couldn't make any putts outside 15. I want to make a lot of putts outside 15.
I want to make exclusively, well,
Yeah,
maybe not exclusively,
Yeah, but a lot of them.
make all my putts outside
Yes,
15 and then miss
yes.
everything
and,
inside.
And guess I'm inside 15. Better.
I'm
just,
gonna lay up
Better just lay up.
to 17 feet.
Yeah, I look for something a little bit lower profile. I think that's what I would go with.
I definitely now, of course, I'm not a pro, I'm not a champion or whatever. I don't even win in life. But no,
Dang.
Well, I mean, we didn't say it.
Yeah.
but I gotta imagine that settling on a driver as your putter is not going to work out ever in
Long
the end.
term,
Long
correct.
term.
No.
So I get what you're asking. You know, there's something that feels similar, but
Now, if none of these putters are working for you, maybe try like a Suspect or something like that. 'Cause that
okay.
could very well work for you. It doesn't have that putter feel, but it definitely.
It's slower at least.
Yeah, exactly.
or a
So,
Cenas maybe.
yeah,
Cenas is actually kind of deep as far as putters go.
and
you're kinda
it's
deep.
gonna be very overstable.
People say that about me all the time. I'm a very
Yep.
deep thinker.
Very deep, yeah. So this question is about a month and a week old. So Jeff, if you happen to catch this episode, I'm curious to see if you have found one since then. If you found something that would work for you, let us know. Hit us up on the old somewhere. Just find us.
Just call fansforman.com. would be a
Okay,
good
there we
place
go.
to do it. Yeah.
This one is from, they didn't put their name. This says, do you have any tips for shorter, smaller players? I'm 5'7" and can throw about 325 consistently. I've adjusted form and technique to get to 325. I feel like I've hit a wall and and can get that distance up consistently. Thanks, Jeremy. Jeremy Rusko. No play.
I thought you said he didn't leave his name.
5'7".
At the end, he says, "Thanks, Jeremy."
That sounds like Jeremy. 5'7".
Maybe he's
300.
asking Jeremy. Thanks, Jeremy.
yeah, thanks, Jeremy, for the answer.
Without seeing your form, it's really hard to tell. I do not think that shorter people have a particular limitation as it comes to distance. Great examples. Paige Pierce throws, super far. Paige Bierkus as well really puts him out there really well. But then when you think of smaller framed guys like, who's the
Me.
Japanese? Eric, but
Manabu.
Manabu Kajiyama. That's right.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember his name.
Manabu can mash.
Yeah, and he's no taller than 5'5".
No.
Yeah, and he puts it out there. So I don't think there's really much to do with your small frame as it is. Like maybe you want to try kind of more of a wide rail throw, I guess, would be a good way to go about it. Getting the disc out away from your body a little bit more is going to help you to keep it on a straight line as you throw on your target, like trying to keep it on the target line. That would be one thing to try. But without seeing your form, I'm sure there would be other tweaks other than just your reach back that I think we could help you with.
Yeah.
And so
Form and technique is a big key there.
Yeah, definitely. So if you are listening, we'd love to see a post on the Disc Golf Answer Man Facebook page. If we get a video on there, we will help you as much as we can.
Sure. So, Eric, what is up with course design? What's going on? What's the latest with designing disc golf courses
The
out there?
latest and the greatest.
Yes.
Well, next week we're a few of us. I'm not sure who all's going to go yet, but we're all going to make a trip out to Great Bend, Kansas, which is a couple hours west of us. It's actually the hometown of Jeremy Rusko.
Yes.
5'7", only throws 325.
That's true. That's true.
Send in a question.
Yep. That's pretty close, except he's a little taller than 5'7".
Yeah, right. In your face. Jeremy.
But they had a course there, they had an 18-hole course, and they were wanting an upgrade. So they had some old baskets, so they wanted us to upgrade the baskets. We're going to be doing that. And I redesigned the course. This is the home. I think Jeremy mentioned this the other day yesterday on his little review. It's the home of the smallest tee pads in the world.
He may have said that. I don't remember.
Legit, there was a tee pad there that was 2 foot by 2 foot.
Whoa.
It was just like a piece of concrete on the ground that you just plant on. It was very interesting.
Was it a hole that you would stand still and throw on?
I mean, no, it was like a couple 100 feet at least. I mean, you
Okay.
could,
Yeah.
but it was interesting. It was very interesting.
So
But
if you're following the rules, like you have to have both feet on that thing.
or have your back foot up off the ground. But yeah, it's not easy.
No.
It's not easy. But no, so and it of course has been there for a while.
Yeah.
So we got some good things moving in that direction on that course. We got a couple others actually. Last week I wasn't here because I was in California.
Mm-hmm.
We went and checked out Riverside. I played the Riverside course that I had designed out there, and that thing is getting some great reviews.
Really?
It is I'm stoked with how it came out.
Nice.
Beautiful little park style course in there in Southern California. Yeah, and then there's quite a few other things in the works, and hoping to get a couple more under the belt this year, actually. So
Nice.
yeah,
Very cool. I know that even though the weather is getting cooler in some places, you can still go design courses.
it's the best time to do it. Honestly,
'Cause
like
it's not as
in the
active?
fall, in the winter,
Yeah.
you can get out, especially on courses that kind of go through the woods,
Yeah.
because it's a lot easier to navigate through the woods than now when everything's kind of getting dormant and non-existent, as opposed to walking through and everything's just so lush and green, and you got to fight your way through it.
Are you going to design the 3-hole course that's going to be at the Emporia RV
I
Park?
honestly didn't know anything about it until yesterday on
Oh, really?
Jeremy's show, so news to me.
I'm sure you'll have some kind of saying to make it, but I think that's pretty cool.
That is very cool.
That's cool for
I've-
the.
every time I've driven home
Yeah.
from that way and I look over at those trees and that pond, I'm like, man, we need to do something. That'd be
Yeah.
a cool little spot for a few baskets. And now it's
Yeah.
happening.
See,
So.
you guys listening and watching, it doesn't have to be some big 18-hole
No.
championship course. If it's just
It
an
doesn't even
RV
have to be a 9-hole
yeah,
course.
it's just
baskets.
A few baskets out there, and they're going to creatively put 3 baskets out there, and then maybe do something creative with some tee pads and stuff like that. And hopefully it'll be done by GBO 2019, because I'd sure love to get some footage of some people out there staying at the RV park playing
Yeah.
a little.
How cool would that be?
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's get back to the questions. This one's from Adam. He says, I know this has been beaten to death, but he wants to beat it some more, apparently. What if flight ratings were done by actual measurements? Have a variety of experienced players for example, pros, people who have been around the game for a while and have an extensive disc knowledge, throw discs in a controlled setting, indoor driving range, and have a number of camera angles that measure distance, lift, turn, fade, etc. You would then be able to create an objective, unbiased, and non-opinionated flight rating system.
I mean, it still won't necessarily work, in my opinion, because flight numbers are going to change no matter what. And this is how I've always looked at them. If all three of us went out and did flight numbers for a disc, for a brand new disc, more than likely all three of us are going to come up with different numbers.
Right.
I mean, arm speed matters.
Yep.
How far you can throw the disc. I mean, dude, there's just so many variables that can go into it. Sure, it would be maybe a less skewed number system, but my thing is you're not going to be able to do that across the board.
Right.
With all manufacturers, not everyone's going to come together and be like,
Right.
yes,
I mean,
let's do this.
You would literally have to have the same group of people throwing every single disc came out.
It would almost what almost needs to happen is the PDGA should come in and say like, all right, from now on we will determine what the flight numbers of discs are.
That would be
and when you
interesting.
send the disc to them to get approved, they send back, well, here's your flight numbers.
Wow,
that would be something that should
but you know
happen.
what happened? Excuse me, though. I can think of scenarios of where, like, so let's say we made a disc and we're like, okay, we were wanting this to be a speed 9 and a glide. We need a glide 3 and a this and that. And we send it to them and they come back with different numbers. Like, no, that's not what we intended it to be.
Because the numbers don't matter.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But I think that would be the only way that you could have it be the same across the board is if the PDGA does it.
Right. Well, and we've got some people on the chat board saying that it would be ideal if you could get a machine to do it, right? And you could have it in a controlled environment. That would.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That would be ideal, sure, but
Yeah.
but it's not reasonable. Like
Right.
with where we are in the sport right now, to have that machine, robot, whatever it is, created.
We'll call him Johnny 5.
Yeah, there we go.
Input.
Just to have that created, you're talking a huge cost. Much less the equipment needed to actually monitor what happens, right? So the suggestion of using a bunch of cameras and lift and distance and everything like that, you're talking about technology that exists but isn't cheap.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not saying like, hey, we're a really cheap company, we don't want to spend money, but
That's what you're saying.
at the end of the day, like we have a lot of.
Nobody's gonna want to spend that money.
That's right. There's a lot more important things I think we could spend money on.
Right. So it's not saying that your scenario isn't a bad scenario. It's just not practical.
Exactly. Like it would be great, but it's not
Right,
practical.
It's not practical. So practically not practical. This is from Blake. Hey guys, I'm a huge fan. Well, thanks, Blake. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Blake.
I never know how to warm up before I play casual or tournament. How do y'all warm up or get loose to play?
Horribly.
Eric walks onto the first tee
Yep.
and throws the shot.
I look at the group and say, hey, guys, I'm going to throw a few shots here. Is that cool?
Hey, what's up?
All right.
Provisional.
I even
think
did
that's-
that at the tournament this weekend.
I think that's out of bounds.
Before the 2 minutes, I threw a couple shots off hole 1.
And then you're like, all right,
All right, I'm ready.
hey, you guys ready?
You guys ready?
That's not good. But I mean, I'm sure we all have our different ways of stretching and getting ready. I think the most important in my limited knowledge of physical fitness is definitely the dynamic stretching as opposed to the static stretching. A lot of the old school static stretching they're finding out is actually not that good for you, but more dynamic, meaning you're moving rather than just grabbing a part and just stretch until it hurts. You're doing dynamic movement. In other words, you're moving around a little bit to get the muscles warmed up.
So I run in place and then pull my arm?
Yes.
Okay.
And in fact, I had some people that actually speculated that stretching and warming up before rigorous exercise, some people believe it actually is harmful.
See, that's the thing. That's
That's just what
whatever.
I read.
I mean, no matter what you do, you're wrong.
Oh, yeah,
No
yeah,
matter
no doubt.
what you do, you're wrong to somebody. So what can you do?
What do you do?
You know?
I'm gonna
You just
throw
don't do
extra-
anything.
I'm gonna throw extra shots off every tee from here on out, and then some people say I'm wrong. Not to me.
Not to you.
My truth is that I can throw as many as I want.
Yeah.
My truth.
Until
My
I'm
truth
happy.
is,
Yeah, that's right. Until I put one close enough, and then I say I'll play that one.
That's mine. That's good.
I would suggest you go to Disc Golf Strong on Facebook or to discgolfstrong.com and look up. I'm sure Mr. Muncie has some stretch videos and things that would
He
be
does.
very beneficial for you.
And it's really just about making sure you just don't show up the whole one and just throw it as hard as you can. out of the car.
Right.
You know what I mean? Throw some putts around at least and do some minor stretching.
Next one is from Dave Chappelle. No. I want to find a putter in the DD line to replace my 175 Discmania D-Line P2. I'm not a fan of soft, flexible discs or beads. I enjoy the grip, feel, and stiffiness of the P2. What disc and plastic in the DD line would be closest to a D-Line P2? That's another question that we'll get to, too.
Okay. Depth-wise and feel-wise.
Oh, wait, this applies.
Okay.
Secondly, I'm not a good distance putter. I don't have a putter in my bag for long outside the circle putts.
Okay.
Can you recommend a DD disc and plastic that I could bag along with your first recommendation for the replacement of my P2?
Okay. So the P2...
And then... No, I'm sorry.
Tight. So the P2 is a little bit deeper putter, relatively overstable. And so I think the putter in the DD lineup that probably feels the closest would be a Warden, but what probably flies the closest would be a Marshall.
Oh, yeah, Marshall.
Marshall is a little bit deeper than a Warden. It has a micro bead, but it almost doesn't really act like a bead. Like, it's not like a Judge where you hold it and you're like, oh, well, there's a bead.
I would consider it a micro bead.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very small. I think the flight is going to be closer to a P2. I don't think it's going to be quite as overstable out of the box, but it's going to be something pretty similar. And I think the feel, you'll like the deeper feel on that as opposed to the Warden. The Warden will feel kind of similar, but it's going to fly quite a bit straighter than a P2.
But for your longer putts, it'll help with that.
Yeah, for those longer putts, I do think Wardens could be good for that. If you need something that flies straighter a little bit longer and you are willing to sacrifice a bit of depth in the putter, then Deputies will fly straighter for even longer than that. They have a little bit of an understability to them.
I would also throw out, it's a Latitude 64 disc, so it's not a DD disc per se, but the Mercy is another one that's going to be, to me, it's going to be right between the Warden and the Marshall as far as stability and feel and all around. So one of those two discs I think we suggested would be a good idea.
Yeah, sure. The Shield probably flies the most like it. That's a West Side disc.
It's got a weird little
kind of
bead
like
on
a
it.
micro.
It's like a
It's certainly not like a big bead.
Yeah. I think the Shield and Marshall are pretty close.
Yeah.
In stability.
For sure.
Excellent. Next one comes from Ryan. This is about growing the sport.
All right, sweet.
So we have a problem here in Toledo with things being stagnant. The same guys have been running tournaments and leagues for years. They're seeing drop-offs in numbers along with community involvement. I'm a younger guy in the area, around 22, and I want to take it upon myself to grow the sport in the area and bring new things in. As of now, I am in talks with a golf course and working on hosting a tournament there. Any advice on how to keep things fresh in a stale area? Robert, you're kind of stale sometimes. What do you do to keep fresh?
Well, I usually just go take a shower.
Oh, okay.
But that doesn't really help with disc golf a whole lot.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Oh.
Maybe for your card mates.
I've been missing out the whole time. I really need to try this out now. For your local area, I think bringing something new and fresh is a good idea, but it's not always the best, and this is my opinion. It's not always the best thing to just come in and be like, here's something going on that's been going on for a long time. I'm going to do my own thing, right?
Yeah.
I think if anything, you'd want to kind of put your heads together with the people who have been there for so long so that maybe y'all could make something better. And then if they just outright refuse or say, hey, we're only going to do things the same way all the time, even if that means we're losing players, then you can probably think about something else.
Yeah, just don't go into it with the mindset of you're wrong.
Right.
What they're doing is wrong, and we need to do it this way. So try not to bump any heads or anything like that, and just like Robert said, reach out to them and kind of maybe explain your ideas of what you want to do and how you want to see the growth of the sport, and just to get an idea if you guys are on the same page or not. I mean, that it could be to the point where they're just burnt out because they've been doing it for so long, and they're kind of
right.
I mean, that old school mentality is kind of in a way set in their ways. Like, this is how we've always done it. This is how we're always going to do it. But with some new, fresh blood coming in and wanting to help grow things and maybe do some new event type things, like on a golf course or anything like that, could be very beneficial. You never know. I would absolutely reach out to the ones that have been doing it for years, though.
And you're talking about trying to get a course on a golf course, or talking with a golf course about doing at least an event or something. Something like that can kind of rejuvenate the area if it's something new and something exciting.
and
think
done right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it can't just be, wide open.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, here's another wide open hyzer. Here's another wide open
And
hyzer.
also, don't just put baskets right next to sand traps and greens. And
Yes, that is correct.
Got it? All right, next one comes from Kyle.
Hey, Kyle.
Hey guys, I could use some advice. I'm a right-hand backhand player with a max distance of 325 on a great day.
Me too.
300 feet on a good 300 feet on a good day and 280 on an accurate day. My main drivers off the tee are the Musket for straighter shots and the Fortress for overstable shots. I have a Moonshine Gladiator for a meat hook and a beat in flow for understable shots. I would like to try a couple of new drivers and wondered what you would suggest.
Wow, there's so many.
Yeah, hit him with it.
So many. So right now he's throwing the... Can you name those discs again? I heard Gladiator for really overstable, so...
Main drivers Musket, Fortress for overstable, and Moonshine Gladiator for the meat hook.
So all those are,
Pretty overstable.
yeah, relatively overstable. I would personally suggest out of all the lineups, those discs, something that kind of would fit somewhere in there is the new disc from DD, the Getaway, that came out last year. It is such a great disc. It is a nice fairway driver, and it doesn't have the huge rim on it like your Gladiator is going to have. Very similar to a Musket, I would say.
Yes.
Maybe for me personally, the Getaway has been a little bit more predictable.
Mm-hmm.
I get a little more predictable flight out of it and sneaky distance out of that disc.
Yeah.
When I can put a little pop on it and get a little bit extra distance out of the disc. I noticed you don't have any mids in your bag, right? Did you?
It didn't mention
Didn't
any,
say anything about mid ranges. Something else maybe we can try out, just some mids, just to throw it out there. Any of the mids really are great. Obviously, I'm going to recommend the EMAC. The Suspect is also another one that I would highly recommend everybody at least gives a
try
try.
out, right.
I mean, I had it in the bag when they came out, and then it was gone for a couple years, and then I recently put it back in the bag, and it's been a great decision. It's kind of like an in-between, like if it's a little windy or if it's in between like my EMAC and my Shield, then boom,
Yep,
it's such a
Suspect.
great disc.
Money.
So good.
No doubt. And I think to go along kind of with the Getaway, a good disc, and I see it recommended on the board here by Sean, a good disc that complements the Getaway is an Escape.
Mm-hmm.
So the Getaway is going to be it's going to be a little slower than your Fortress, probably a similar stability but with less dive at the end.
Yep.
The Escape is going to be a similar speed to the Getaway, but a little bit straighter and even something that you can move to the right. I think at that speed range that you're talking about.
Yep.
That's going to be a lot easier for you to throw straight. So
Yeah.
I would check those two discs out for sure.
Gotcha.
Speaking
Uh-oh.
of Gladiators,
Yeah.
let's give this Gladiator away.
Nice.
Let's
Let's give it away because last time we did this, that Robert wasn't here. We gave away 3 discs on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
So let's give this to our
Let's.
How
Yeah.
you want to do it?
I don't know.
So first of all,
I brought the disc. It's your decision.
Oh, it's my decision.
Your-
First
your
of all,
turn.
for our audio listeners, in my hand I have an orange Latitude 64 Opto Gladiator. It is 173.
It's brand new too. This one it wasn't even like field tested.
Nice. And the person that sent in the question, this is more of a meat hook.
It is beefy.
It's quite overstable, yeah.
Quite overstable for those super overstable shots, or if it's pretty windy out where you're at, then a good stable shot for you.
Mhm.
I tell you what. Let's think on it. I'll think on it.
Okay, you think on it.
And then when we answer the next question, I'll figure it out.
Here, super quick while you're thinking on that. So if you didn't tune in with us earlier on, here is the bet Dymax between Bobby and I. I think it's pretty great. Jacob did a great job with it. This disc is actually live on the Dynamic Discs page right now. If you would like to purchase one to, support the show, but more than anything else, just to make fun of Bobby and remind him that he lost miserably. We are actually, I just see Danny just linked that in the chat. So go ahead and check out that link. These are available on, I think, a lot of DD molds, if I remember correctly. Lots of molds. So we've got Captain, Convict, Criminal. We've got some Latitude 64, Anchor, Explorer, Mercy. We've got West Side Disc, Sword, Warhorse, World. We've got lots of options on this. So go ahead and check that out. We'd love to see this. Well, I shouldn't say we. I would love to see this in lots of players' bags throughout the year. Send us a picture of yourself holding the disc, and we'll just show Bobby, and he'll be sad just like this again. Look how sad he is. Look at that. Really sad.
Face.
Really sad. If we could
I'm
zoom
not
in,
that sad.
you could. No, he's really sad. You weren't in the room when we took the picture. He was super sad.
Oh yeah. I
we
was
didn't
crying,
both like just go back to normal afterwards. So
Oh yeah. It was quite awkward. Actually.
yeah.
All right. Next one comes from the Joey. It's the Joey.
It's the
But-
Joey.
But it's one word, so I gotta say it's the Joey. It's the Joey. It's the Joey. All right. He says, "Hey guys, I'm not sure if this question has been asked before, but I recently played with some guys at a local course, and they played scramble golf, where you play
Ooh.
from the best shot.
Noise.
I have played ball golf like this before, and it was okay, but with disc golf, it was just kind of weird to me. So my question is, have you guys played disc golf with this rule, and how do you feel about it?
Well, yeah. I mean,
Like, how do you really feel about it?
well, I mean, it's like every time we play doubles, we play it like a scramble.
Yeah, we do best shot.
We played we at the tournament, the triples tournament that I went to this last weekend. It was scramble, and so yeah. I mean, I think it's a fun way to do it. If I'm going out with just
Wonder why it felt weird on disc golf to him.
maybe because
Because he's a golfer probably, and he's probably
Just
scramble is weird for disc golf.
if
when
it's only like your group.
well, that's what a scramble is.
But-
when
but I'm
it's your
saying-
whole group, like a foursome. It'd be like 4 people on a card playing best shot,
Right.
and that is weird.
okay.
Now, I think it would feel less weird if like there was a couple of groups doing it together and you were kind of competing with one another. But say, the 4 of us in the room right now go out to Jones and say, hey, we're going to play a 4-man best shot. Yeah, that would be a little bit weird.
Yeah.
For sure. But if you're competing with someone, I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Really fun.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it.
But there isn't too many tournaments out there that are
No.
scramble. Like you said, 3-man is about all I've heard.
Yeah, and that's pretty intense. I mean, you're birdieing a lot of holes at that point.
You should be.
Yes.
This one is from Emily. When listening to you talk about plastics, I understand the Moonshine is a more overstable plastic than the Lucid plastic. I get this. However, I recently overheard another golfer say that they like/use a really stable plastic. Would DD have a neutral, stable plastic that all the other plastics are based off of? What does it mean to use a stable plastic? For example, I have a Fusion Convict. Would a Moonshine plastic be considered a more stable plastic, or would a more stable plastic be a Lucid? By the way, she typed it in that inflection. That wasn't me.
Huh.
Both.
Yeah.
That's kind of an interesting question because I think we don't really use one plastic to base the others off of. I would say
Wow, that lawnmower is right up on us.
that is
Sorry, guys.
quite loud, and we apologize. I guess the ones that we form our opinions off of are usually sent over in the Lucid or Opto or VIP plastics. So maybe that's what we use as our baseline. I don't know. That's,
Well, I mean, Fusion is technically Lucid with just some other ingredients or
right.
something added to it. So I don't think there's, like you said, though, I don't think that there's necessarily one plastic. It's like, this is what we base everything off of.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, you can compare the two to one another. Like if you say a Lucid Convict versus a Fusion Convict, Lucid in general is going to be a little bit more overstable than Fusion. Sometimes out of the box, Fusion is a little more stable and then works into less stable. And I think that's kind of how Moonshine is as well. Moonshine usually starts off even a little bit more than that overstable and works in to be a little less stable than Lucid. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree.
The man on the lawnmower doesn't think at all.
He disagrees.
He just rides by the window.
Yes.
Thanks
And the
for
trees.
riding by.
Appreciate that guy. This one is from Billy. Billy, don't you lose my number. Would it make sense for someone to bag a Convict and a Getaway, seeing as the flight numbers are almost identical? Also, the Escape is similar in flight numbers. Do you like how I'm adding drama to all these questions? Could I get away, no pun intended, with only using one of these discs as my main fairway driver?
get away?
If no, reasons. If yes, which disc would you recommend and which plastic? I'm an intermediate player.
Okay.
Well, you should base your life off numbers.
You should not.
Oh,
So, all right.
sorry, that was kind of mean.
Yeah.
Still harsh.
So here's
But
what
no,
To intermediate players.
here's what it comes down to. Yes, the flight numbers on the Getaway and the Escape and the Convict are relatively similar. But if you've thrown those 3 discs, you know that they really don't fly that similarly. Part of the reason for that is they're all in the same speed range, but they have different rims, they have different feels. One of them is intended to be relatively stable to overstable. One of them is intended to be fairly straight to turn to the right, and one of them is intended to kind of S on its own. And so while the numbers are somewhat similar, even those small differences, in my opinion, are enough for the discs to fly different, right? And so if we didn't have to assign numbers to those discs and you threw them and you didn't know what any numbers were, I think you'd be like, oh, these are 3 different discs. I could see bagging each of them, or 2 of them, or something like that. But because the numbers are there,
If you've got
it
the
can be a little
room,
confusing.
if you've got room in your bag, carry them all.
Yeah, and try them out.
And if not, I would recommend out of those 3. Oh man, if you're only going to carry one of those 3, for me personally, it's going to be the Getaway. But I think the Convict is probably going to be a little more neutral as far as kind of in between the 2.
Right. If I had to pick 2, I'd probably pick Getaway, Escape, because they complement
Yep.
each other so well. The
Yep.
Convict, like you said, is kind of right in the middle of them.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
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 All right. Next one comes from Alex.
Trebek.
I'm Alex Trebek. I'm an intermediate player. I can throw discs that flat out of my hand, but have yet to figure out how to start a disc on a hyzer and flip it to flat. Am I not getting enough speed? Is it a disc thing, or can you recommend a technique for achieving a hyzer flip?
What is disc golf problems?
Oh, stick with the Alex Trebek.
I am going with it.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
so from my perspective, because I can throw the disc flat out of my hand, but I really have to throw the correct disc for me to get it to go from hyzer to flat.
Right.
Now, I already know that if I grabbed a Defender, I'm not going to get that to go hyzer to flat.
That's correct.
But if I gave it to, say, you guys,
I'm probably not going to get a Defender to get like hyzer to flat straight out of the box.
who maybe like a
I mean, you're talking.
You're talking like Simon,
so
Eagle, those
maybe,
guys.
maybe wrong
disc.
wrong disc. So maybe like a Trespass.
There you go.
That's good.
Now I've got a. Did we ever determine what that pink one is? Is it a hybrid hybrid fusion?
It's
Trespass?
yeah. Yours is a hybrid. That's right.
Okay. I have that, and then I have a Biofusion, a very beat-in Biofusion Trespass. The Biofusion Trespass, I can get that thing to go hyzer to flat. The other one really depends on the wind, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, for me, my answer would be to you is it's your disc selection. If you can't get it to flip flat, then you're probably throwing a disc that is too high speed for you.
Yeah.
Too overstable.
Or overstable.
Or
It
overstable,
could
I'm sorry,
honestly be
yes.
either one.
Right.
But all right, so say you are throwing a relatively understable
I
disc.
totally butchered that.
No. I think
Okay.
that was good. Say you are throwing a relatively understable disc, and you're good at throwing a flat angle. Really, what you need to do is take that same release and just adjust your torso to be a little bit more hyzer, to where your reach back now is on hyzer, and then you're following through on hyzer. But if you're throwing a disc that normally you could throw flat and move to the right, in theory, you should be able to throw that same disc on a subtle hyzer and get it to flip to flat. You want to make sure that the nose angle is correct to do that, because nose up is not going to make discs want to flip hardly at all.
Gotcha. I'm going to choke that lawnmower. So, we good on that one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Last question of the event. of the episode. This one is from Pat. I recently threw a tee shot where part of the outside of my brace foot landed just over the end of the tee pad.
You're dead.
I wasn't sure if I had just committed a foot fault. No one on my card said anything, and we all started to walk down the fairway. Is it a foot fault if you step on or over the end of the tee pad before releasing your disc? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
But yours wasn't because nobody called it.
Hey, it might as well have not happened.
Yeah.
So here's the thing with foot faults, right? At the end of the tee pad, I'm getting ready to throw, and I put my foot down, and
Put my foot down.
listen here, put my foot
And
down.
shake it all around.
I'm getting ready to throw. I already did the hokey pokey. Okay. I put my
already-
foot down at the end of the tee
poked the
box.
hokey.
If part of my foot is off the tee box and touching the ground before I let the disc go, then yes, that's a foot fault. Now, say you're playing on a tee pad that's a little bit elevated, and a bit of your foot is off, but you're not touching the ground, you're good to go. No problem. It'll probably hurt when you turn on it, but you're good to go. The biggest thing on a foot fault like that is if that all supporting points have to be in contact with the T-pad when the disc is released. So if part of your foot is on the ground and part of it's on the T-pad and the disc is still in your hand, that would be a foot fault.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like we said, if nobody calls it, might as well have not happened. Plain and
I
simple.
wouldn't recommend trying it that
Yeah,
way.
don't try it. It's not a good idea. But it's as if it didn't happen.
Never happened.
Yep.
Never, ever happened. All right, so how we're going to give this disc away is I'm creating a form right now where you've got to give me your name, your email address,
Social Security number.
and then you've got to answer one question for me. You don't have to know the answer. This is kind of total subjective. It's basically, how do you plan to stay active in disc golf during winter months? Just
Perfect.
a topic we can talk about next week. So I'm going to put it out at, I believe the address is discgolfanswerman.com/subscriber. If I can spell it right.
If not,
If
good
not-
luck finding
yeah,
it.
good luck finding it. No, that's not it. There's a special page. Anyway, I'm going to put it in the description because I'm going to work on it here in a little bit. So go to the description of this episode. And yes, you YouTube watchers, you're going to have to figure it out by going to the YouTube. You're going to have to download the podcast. Look at the description. It'll have a link to the page where you're going to fill out this form, name, email address, and then tell us what you plan to do to stay active during the winter months of disc golf. And then I will select a winner.
It's a nice disc.
Yeah, we actually have another.
I don't know if you mentioned it, but does have a Disc Golf Answerman stamp on it.
Yeah, I didn't think about it for our listeners. It
Yeah.
has a.
It's orange with a black Disc Golf Answerman stamp on it. It's
we
pretty
actually
sweet.
I'm actually giving away another disc based off some questions that people submitted, or based on answers. Let's see where it is. If I can playing disc golf in the rain. So we got 40 responses. So we'll just go over a few of them real quick. What advice do you have for playing disc golf in the rain? That's based off the Radius Open that we have. He says, one guy says you can never bring enough towels. One says make sure you have plastic bag for all your towels. That makes sense. Because it's more wet, don't grip the disc more firmly. Tone it back a bit in how much you try to crush a drive. Definitely wipe off your disc if you're able to. My shirt is always soaked and dirty after playing in the rain because I wipe my disc with it. A towel would work just as well, but hey, it works. One guy says slow down, then slow down a little more.
Hey.
Stay as dry as possible. Use an umbrella, a Zuka cart with a different disc for each of your drives individually wrapped in plastic. 18 dry tee shots. You didn't say it. It had to be good advice.
I mean, that's not bad advice. If you can get away with that.
Yeah, if you got space.
One guy says dry socks. They make everything feel better between rounds.
I'll tell you what was nice this weekend was being able to go home. I know we didn't get to play the second round,
Yeah.
but being able to go home and throw everything in the dryer, all my towels, and make sure everything was good to go for round 2.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
That didn't happen. Do field work in the rain. If you're running a turn, if you're an attorney in the rain, nothing is going to get your hands or discs dry, and your towels will ultimately get and stay wet. You can't change the weather, so just learn how to throw in the elements.
Honda Elements.
Lots of dry towels. We recently had a downpour during a league round. I had to resort to throwing my prime judge on every throw and settle for mostly pars. I have since bought the rest of my original 3-pack that got me started, a Prime Escape and Truth. So it sounds like Prime Plastic is his thing. So thank you guys for sending in your stuff. We'll go over more of these later, but I will pick a winner of the disc. I can't remember what it is, but it's in my office and has a Post-it note on it that says I'm giving it away. Oh, I took a picture. It was a captain.
Sweet.
Took a picture and posted on the Facebook group. For you guys that submitted your comments, you put comments on the Facebook group. You did not read the directions very well because you had to submit it on the form. So go look for the link in the description of this podcast, and it'll have the Gladiator entry form where you give us some information, and then we will pick a winner next time we are on the show.
And if you want to get another disc given away to you by way of purchasing, you can purchase this Disc Golf Answerman disc so that Bobby will be sad. Links in the chat. Thanks.
And I will sign over his face. I will.
No,
autograph-
don't.
I will autograph
Oh,
his
come on.
face for you. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you tuning in. We will see you next week.
Hey, bye.